control to introduce everybody. Just let you know.
Hello, and welcome to the RealRam fam. On my channel, I intend to provide you with a safe platform to discuss the intersections of your entire being, to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, in mission or position. There is no one like you, and we all have a purpose and message. I, for one, am a black woman, mother of four, a military veteran, and a wife, and a social worker, just to name a few. From my channel, I hope that you learn more about military families and social workers. Three of the social work values are my aim in each video: importance of human relationships, dignity and worth of the person, and social justice. No matter what you initially think when you hear social worker, there is more to the profession. Trust me. Stay locked in by subscribing to the channel, and be sure that you hit that notifications bell so you don't miss any new uploads. Without further ado, on to today's episode. Good evening, good evening, good evening. What's up, RealRam fam? So tonight I'm going to come to you and we're going to discuss Dave Chappelle's The Closer. I hope you all watched it because we may do some spoilers. And if not, hey, just join in on the conversation. Also, tonight I have some giveaways. So make sure that you stay tuned in through the entire show, participate, leave your comments and questions in the comment box. And so tonight, as you see, I am lower. Y'all got me talking too fast. I am joined by a couple of guests tonight. Mimi, you guys have seen before. My friend from Manhattan. I have another friend from Manhattan, Sylvian. I've known her for about the same amount of time, since the 7th grade. I have Strawberry, DC owned Strawberry. Strawberry, tell the people who you are and how we came into contact with each other.
I'm just a native Washingtonian, born and raised here in DC. I fight for the LGBT black community. And we came in contact with each other from a high involved man that was truly involved in the church life. So he referred me to you, and we had a great conversation.
And then Aurora.
Yeah, this is my second time being on the show, right? Yeah. Aurora, she, her, transsexual woman, advocate, singer, songwriter.
Whoop, whoop.
That's your strawberries.
And then we got Christian.
I'm Christian, he, him pronouns. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I live in DC now. I've been here for about 7 years. So I'm bringing myself. You asked about birth order earlier. I'm the third born. I'm the baby of the family. And it's a 9-year difference between me and my other siblings. So I get their wisdom. They gave it on to me. So I'm ready to share it with y'all tonight.
All right. Well, thank you, Christian, for throwing that on in there. So I'm going to let the people know once again, if y'all forgot, I am my mother's only child and my father's second, but my baby sister is 17 years younger than me. So that's still more like I was the baby. Sylvian, what's your birth order?
I am the middle child.
The middle.
Yep, I'm the second one on both sides. On my dad's side, I'm the second child, and on my mama's side, I'm the second child. So,
all right. Aurora?
I am the oldest of 6.
Ooh, the oldest. Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Big sis teas.
Strawberry?
I'm the oldest of 7.
All right. So we are going to dig in, and if you guys have any questions, viewers, so I brought these lovely people on with me because I am an individual who believes that if I'm going to talk about something that I either do not know or I am not a member of, if I have people in my network, I would like to have their expertise to come in. You know, as a woman, I don't want men speaking for me. As a black person, I don't want someone who's not black speaking for me. So I am an advocate and a friend of the LGBT community, but I myself, I am not a member of. So that's why I have them on so that they can enlighten us. And as a social worker, you all know that I try my best to make sure that I am using the correct terms and I am myself not being offensive or anything like that. So people wanted to cancel Dave Chapelle, and it's supposed to be just comedy. But not being a member of that community, the question is it just comedy? So I watched The Closer. I did watch some of his other specials. There's one that I can't remember that I did not watch yet. So let's start with the newbie, Christian.
Uh-oh.
Did you find The Closer specifically? Was there anything in there that you found to be offensive that he said that he did that he should not have done?
Mm-hmm. There were a couple of things that I didn't like about it. Yeah. Some that people were offended by, I didn't care about. Some things he said I thought were ignorant, to be honest, and not a realistic portrayal of Black life in America, to be honest. Like, and I actually saw people. Should I talk about it, or do we give a brief reflection, or should I, share my thoughts a little bit?
No, you can go jump right on in.
I saw some people talking about this online. I definitely noticed this as well, but it felt like a lot of sort of his stance was like, white gays. And I think Strawberry even already touched on this already, right? So there are Black gay people, there are Black trans LGBT people. So I feel like a lot of times he sort of overlooked the fact that there are people in our own neighborhoods, families, and communities who exist at these intersections. So it's not like a rich white issue like he sort of made it out to be. Yeah, period. Like, I mean, Black people exist at all these intersections: drug addiction, substance abuse, mental health issues, poverty. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all mixed up in the same sauce. And so I feel like he definitely sort of like, I don't feel like he really acknowledged that. And if he just paid attention to his own community, Philly, it's a lot of Black gay people in Philly, or DC. Like, it's a lot of hood ass gay people, like, period. So like, to imply that that's not true is like ignorant at best, like toxic at worst. And I'll start there.
Do you think that Dave Chapelle was maybe reacting towards his environment or who was actually at the show at that moment? And that's why, because when I listen to him, and I don't listen to all of his comedy shows, but a lot of times his focus is the white community. I mean, I've heard him say things about the Black community, but more or less the white community is where he's cracking jokes within that community.
I got you. Like, to a Black audience, but about white people, you're saying, or to a white audience?
Or to a white audience about white people.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Hold on one second.
That probably pays him very well to approach it that way.
True that. Go ahead, Mimi. You unmuted. Go ahead.
I had a question because, like, I guess I'm trying to figure out, like, when he's saying that you guys are canceling him, the LGBTQ are canceling him, is he talking about like all of you or just the white rich? Is what I'm kind of confused on when they say like cancel the culture. Is it just the Blacks or is it whites?
It's a good question. Go ahead.
So all I could speak on far as when it comes to cancel culture, I believe it only becomes necessary, honestly, when white people make a big deal out of it. Because honestly, Black people, whether you gay or not, the things we made a big deal out of, nothing has happened to it. But now when white people make a problem out of it, or when it becomes a problem in white culture, then everybody want to jump on the bandwagon with it, which is kind of slightly, well, no, not kind of slightly, it's very annoying because like it gets paid attention on one end, but then it gets annoyed on the other. And sometimes I do appreciate it, like, for the baby, a lot of Black people did come together, especially, the Black LGBT community. They came together, and even though he got canceled, but now he kind of back, but I did appreciate everybody coming together and standing up for each other right there. But that was like the first time I ever seen like our community come together as a whole for something that was directly said towards the HIV/AIDS community.
But like Charlamagne the God said, is like, we canceled the little baby or whatever his name is. But we didn't take that and make that a teachable moment until it got more harm.
Agreed.
Right.
Which is unfortunate because, like I said, I'm gonna be quiet, because I don't know a lot about this community and I don't want to offend, you know what I'm saying? But you invited me to, have this conversation so I could learn. And a lot of the times these people are in the spotlights, and because they're celebrities or whatnot, they get targeted instead of, like Charlamagne the God said, making it a teachable moment. Because as we know, within our community, it's not acceptable. That's something that you hide. And, in the years past, it's been more acceptable to come out and be who you are. But we also have those individuals who don't understand the community. And so we have to teach instead of, send out all this hate. We already experienced enough just because of our skin color.
If I could bounce off of that, I would just say that to answer Mimi's question, I think that he was referencing white people were responsible for canceling him, because Dave's general stance is white people are the powers that be. They control the industry and things like that. But I do still think the harm that he did by not acknowledging black people is basically like sort of what Sylvian was saying, that like it almost like pretending like black people don't exist. I mean, not black people don't exist, but black gay people don't exist. So it's like by not even referencing, it's sort of like, like, yeah, we know we have gay people, but our gay people are not out like that, like white people. And I feel like that's problematic, and that's not even really true. So I just would connect those 2 points a little bit.
So I saw a meme during this time talking about, of course, prior comedians, right? And their jokes. Kevin Hart and all the apologizing and stuff that he had to do in the jokes he made, as well as the meme specifically said, they must didn't know about the milk and cookies. Now, remember when Bernie Mac did that one? Oh, y'all too young. Boy, we shaking your head no, Christian.
I know about the milk and cookies.
Bernie Mac used to do that all the time. Bernie Mac's thing was he was watching his nieces and nephews, whatever, and the nephew, whatever. Then the little girl was bad. So she would send her brother up and be like, can you go ask him for some milk and cookies? But the boy apparently was gay. So he would be like, him downstairs. And then he'd be like, can we have some milk and cookies? Like he would just, put on like a gay voice. Lord Christian, you don't know about that?
Yeah, no, ma'am. I was sad when Bernie Mac passed away, and I saw a couple episodes anyway, child. Anyway, I remember that part of the scene.
That's 90s comedy.
I know, but Jiminy, geez, y'all need some age on y'all. Anywho,
I'm telling you,
comedy is comedy, right? So when Bernie Mac did it, all of us laughed, right? And it was no thing. There's no cancel culture. Even if we take it back to Bill Cosby and stuff, there's no cancel culture. But I mean, that gay joke, that thing was funny. Now, maybe it's because it was a kid. I don't know. Versus, okay, whatever Dave Chapelle is saying, or is there a difference?
So to be fair, when I watched The Closure, I didn't feel any type of way. I don't even for one, I didn't feel any type of attack on the gay community, because he addressed all his jokes that he had towards the trans community. He addressed the jokes, and then he told the story behind the joke. Now, as a comedian, if I did choose that life as a comedian, because one, everyone has to understand, once you get up on stage, that's a process within its own to stand up there in front of a bunch of people. Then to put that whole project on and that you have inside your head for your jokes to flow as well as you need them to, that's a whole nother process. So if I'm going to be a comedian and I know I'm going to be funny, and I know the jokes I'm going to tell are going to be funny, even me being gay myself, I'm going to not only talk about my own experience, but I'm going to involve everyone around me, gay, straight, trans, everything. So if you take that as offensive, then like he said, leave that shit in the comment section, because it's a joke from me to you. It's funny to me. If it's not funny to you, I'm sorry, but I'm doing this stand-up, not you. If it's not funny to you, don't be one of my guests. That's it.
I
But
think
I don't feel nothing is offensive or should be taken as offensive. And honestly, even though a lot of people, are tired of me saying it, I feel like we definitely become an overly sensitive, not even community, but just overly sensitive culture as people within this day and age now.
I agree. Now, was that an echo?
Yeah, that was echo.
That's you.
Are you on your phone and your computer? Because I was doing that earlier and it was making an echo.
I mean, Strawberry, I think you make a very, very, very valid point. This is someone's profession, and they're going to use every bit of skill that they have to, make it be more successful. So if we're at a comedy show and they're talking about black women hair, which is a very sensitive topic, are we going to cancel them out? Are we canceling out the white woman that wants to come and touch on my hair and say this and that and the other? Are we canceling that? No.
We're canceling her.
We're canceling her. No, she might get whooped, but she ain't gonna get canceled.
But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of things within the comedy profession that comedians are going to talk about. And, I feel like we should always take it as a teachable moment, because that's what Dave Chapelle did. He didn't just get up there and start talking about trans women or men. He said what he said, and then he went back and he gave the backstory on it. And that's the wonderful thing that I liked about it, is that he gave the backstory.
Yeah, and then on top of that, all his jokes, like he said before, all his jokes is his own experience. So you can't knock him from whatever that experience is, whatever said individual is. So it's just like, it's a joke. And even if he took that moment, whether it was a serious moment or not as fun, or even a sad moment, he took that moment and he chose to make it funny, or he tried to, however that came off. So I don't understand how people felt like so offensive or got so, or even felt entitled to be offensive to something that somewhat didn't have nothing to do with them for the most part. And I love my trans people and I love my trans community, but a lot of them honestly are, we gonna just speak how it is, a lot of them are just overly sensitive. And I was just like, come on now. Sometimes it irritates me when people do a little bit too much. Like I get your moment to make a point or pick a time to shine, but make it relevant and make it real and make it realistic. Don't just do it to hop on the bandwagon with something that's just not serious. And I'm not speaking up for David Chapelle because he's from Washington, D.C., just like me, because he has gay people in his family. He got trans people in his family. He have trans friends and gay friends. And speaking from the person that's been involved in the LGBT forever, like I don't see, like I tell people all the time, I don't see us as an LGBT community. Yes, I'm gay and I'm black, but I'm still I'm a person. I'm a man. I'm a human. At the beginning and the end of the day, I'm a person. All these other labels and titles has been thrown on me from the community themselves and just from society within its whole. So it's like I have to involve myself around all of that first before I even step outside the damn door of how I'm gonna portray myself to the world.
Right.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Go ahead, Mimi.
I think it's kind of for the gay community, but more so for Aurora. Why are you guys changing like the nouns? Because I'm just kind of trying to understand. Like, I heard someone say like we're almost gonna have to go all the way back through school because of the nouns.
First of all, let me start by saying I do not speak for all people. I do not speak for all trans people. I am of a particular experience of my own. So anything I say after this is of my volition and experience. Now I am not a part of the crusade of changing all the pronouns. I had to go to learn them as well, along with everyone else. And while I can honestly say there's some things I don't always fully 100% understand about the mental behind it or the reasoning behind it. But I also am like, well, first of all, we Black. We're not gonna sit here and act like our asses don't know fucking ebonics and can't sit here and make up words on the spot and make it a thing. Hateration and holleration is not in the dictionary, but we damn sure sing it like it's the truth. So like, we're not about to make that a thing. But then secondly, like, just respect people's humanity. It's really just plain and simple. Like, they tell you how they want to be addressed, just address them as such. It's no different than when we know, oh, you can call, only certain people can call somebody Pookie instead of calling him Darren. Like, you know, I'm growing around in hoods and stuff. Like, you know, just, it's like you know damn well you can't call him this particular name because you're not family. Like, and you won't respect it. Like, it's simple as that. Like, just respect people for their humanity and stop. People will use all the reasonings of why they can't understand or get with something to hide their own level of homophobia or transphobia. You put all of these reasons of why you can't, even though you actively do it in a multitude of other ways within your own community and your own livelihood. So it's just like, like I said, I don't comprehend or understand it. It doesn't always make sense to me. It's not always something I'm like rooting for, but I'm like, I'm going to respect their humanity. My boyfriend, my partner identifies as they, them. So I always respect they, them. And it's just like, and it's just that simple. I have plenty of friends who are in the same path, and I'm learning about the I'm like, I'm learning. That's
Z is Z, they, them.
The, they, and them.
No, Z, like the letter Z is Z-E. Yeah, it's Z-E, and then it's Z-H-E-Y, and then it's Z-H-E-M.
Same face I make, but it is
crazy.
It is. I'm just like, I want to respect your humanity and how you feel you show
up. And I
up.
do, like, I really want to respect the culture, and I understand. I want to respect you guys, but it's like me, when we were growing up, you know, we got to she, him, her, you know, that's what was taught to us. So for us to just go, like, am I supposed to say, what should I call you? Or, I mean,
no, it is not a hard thing to ask somebody, how would you like to be identified?
Because I'd be wanting to know if I should say that, or should I just let them
But I think it is a hard thing. I think it is a hard thing for people who don't understand it. And so therefore there's a hesitation, because, you know, most people fear the unknown. Right. And if you don't, if you've never been really engaged in that community, then you don't know. Because, I mean, I had a therapist who had those acronyms behind her name, and I mean, I wanted to ask her so bad, but it was a fear, and so I didn't.
Can I speak for the culture, the non-binary culture a little bit, and like actually trying to define what it means and like where the energy comes from? Because like I feel like I'm on that spectrum. Like I'm comfortable with he, him pronouns. I mean,
you,
huh?
Speak for you and your experience. You can't represent everybody.
Definitely not. But I do feel like we are in a community. I'm in a community with other non-binary people. So generally speaking, like, you know, for whatever reasons, when we think we know something about somebody, we treat them a certain kind of way. So we all do this, and I do this sometimes pridefully. I'm like, this is a Black woman. Well, I'm about to go treat her like my sister because I love Black women. I've made assumptions about her and what she needs from me and how, you know, and like we all do that. So I think that people who identify as non-binary, they want to take a little bit of power back and say, really, don't assume that you know anything about me. Don't treat me as a woman in your family. Don't treat me as a man in your family. Just like ask me whatever you need from me and keep it pushing. Like I think it's sort of a rejection of being socialized by other people and what they think they know about you. I really feel like it's just a way to fight people's assumptions. And I think that when you really, really feel like you live at the middle of like this gender spectrum, where there are people who love being a Black woman, there are people who love being a Black man, but when you really, really feel like you just exist at the middle, it becomes really personal when people don't respect that, you know, because that's your daily experience. Every day you go to Walmart, you feel like you're in the middle. And it pisses you off when somebody says, man, because you really don't, that's not what you give. bitch, don't talk to me like I'm your older sister, because I have never been that. I have nothing in common with your older sister. You know what I'm saying? So I think it really is an energetic experience that people themselves embody. And I think that they just want other people to respect it, even from a distance. It's not an intimate respect, but it's just call me they, them, because it's my preference.
So
you know?
it's just
Can you
basically how
explain?
you feel.
Hold on, because he threw a lot out there. For people who don't know what non-binary means, can you explain that, please?
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at. So, you know, some people think, say, if you have masculine people on one side and feminine people on one side, maybe I'm somebody who I fall really in the middle. I really draw my energy from masculine traits and feminine traits. And it's not just about being it is about being a balanced person. So I want to treat people like my sister treats people, and I want to treat people like my brother treats people. There's no reason that I cannot embody both. So as where some people feel more comfortable on one side of the spectrum, I'm really like, no, like I might switch it up on you. Or I might go get nails one day and, you know, pull my braids back, and, you know, but then the next day I might be in some G-Nikes and some simple, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the ability to connect with multiple genders, honestly, how I would describe, or being in the middle of genders.
So the next natural question would be identification versus sexual orientation. So does that mean that you like both men and women?
Personally, yes. I don't know if that was a personal question, but yes.
Okay. I mean, I guess I
really personally, and then just generally, if we were to meet another non-binary person, you know, does that mean?
Like you said, no, it doesn't mean that, because like you said, gender identity and sexual orientation are different, right? So they might be any gender attracted to any other gender. You know, a man could like a woman, a man could like men and women, somebody in the middle could like only women, because they only feel safe with women, or they're only attracted to femme people. So I definitely don't, you really, again, and that's the whole power behind being non-binary, is don't make assumptions. See, that's the thing. You look at my body, you assume who I'm attracted to based on how you think my body looks. And like, basically fall back, son. Call me they, them, and I'm not attracted to you, keep it pushing. If you attracted to me, I mean, maybe shoot your shot. I don't know, you know, depending on the times we're in. But, you know, like, yeah, you can't assume basically people's attraction based on how they look. I think that's a big point of it as well.
Yeah, because I think I learned this from my son, because at first I thought that he was just gay, but then he told me that he likes men and women, you know, if he's attracted to them, then maybe he would talk to them, you know. And I didn't realize that I thought, you know, that was bi to me, you know, because we've only had gay, bi, lesbian, and that's it. So now that you guys have made it a little bit longer.
Yeah, complicated.
You can say complicated.
Yeah, complicated it a little bit.
Complicated for us. We kind of feel like, what can we say or what can we not say? And like he just said, "Mom, I'm just me," and I accept him for who he is, you know. So, you know, I don't say gay anymore. I just say he's him, and whoever he's attracted to is who he's attracted to.
If I could make one more last point about it, I think the whole I'm me, I think that's a really beautiful point. And when you look at, like, I would say hood influencers, somebody like Big Frida, who really presents as somebody who is neither one or the other, she don't give a F what you call her. Like, pronouns is not, she didn't grow up in that culture. Nobody was like, girl, you can choose. She didn't grow up in that society. She grew up in the Seventh Ward in the hood in New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's so genuine when people just like, I'm a person. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to put that caveat on when we talk about, is it white gays, is it the powers that be? I think people who are really formally educated, they sort of can obsess over the language because they put a lot of that identity. I think, like Tony said earlier, when you're Black and you just from the neighborhood, you sort of make language up as you go anyway. So it really don't matter, but you're gonna know. And I think, honestly, Black people, even straight people, you know how to talk to a stud. If you got a stud who live in your hood, you know you don't address her the same way you do the girl who got 3 children and is a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we can understand these things without having to put all of the most specific language to it, and that's also okay.
So I agree with everything that Christian's saying, but I'm only going to play devil advocate to the point where we do fight for all these new upcoming conflicting, complicated rights that we do have with pronouns and gender, you know, and everything. And then it also backfires because, like you said, if you want to know somebody's pronouns or how to identify, you can just ask them, how do you identify? But even with that question alone, people get offended or they get mad or they feel some type of way. So it leaves you with the concept of, well, what the hell do you want? Like, how do I make you feel comfortable? Why am I trying so hard to make you feel comfortable? And I've had conversations with a lot of my straight friends, you know, because most of them be like, you know, I'm fed up. Like, you know, they have the fucking attitude towards the LGBTQIA plus community because, like you said, we just keep adding shit and you keep making more stuff more complicated. Now, I understand, like I used to tell people, I've been fighting for our rights, for the freedom, for everything for as long as I can live, and especially once I turned 14 and got just so involved with it. But at a point of a time, it became lost to me of what the hell I was really fighting for. And I myself got annoyed and irritated with it. Like when they made this huge fuss about adding brown and black on the rainbow, like I was fine with the rainbow. That wasn't white to me. It was just all 6 fucking colors. That was colorful to me. Now you putting brown and black on it. Not to say that it looks like dirt, but it's like it's stupid. Like it's like, what's the point to me? My own opinion. It's like it was dumb. Why change that? It's been around for so fucking long. People sat right there and like, you know, knit and pick that damn flag, and that was like our representation. How can you just change that?
I got a question
on
the rainbow you're talking about. You know, this is all out of love that I'm saying this. I just feel like, why did we take the rainbow for your guys's meaning? Because isn't that a child's, you know, rainbow technically? Like, isn't that like an innocence for a child, and that children can, you know, keep their rainbow without them going to school and wearing rainbow colors, and somebody says, "Oh, you're with the, you know, LGBTQ," and then these are innocent kids to me.
Yeah. So I can only speak on that from I understood why you said that because I've had this conversation before. It was definitely a while back though, because a friend of mine was like, how y'all just gonna take the rainbow and make it yours? So I was like, the only way I could speak on it is because of a conversation that I've heard, and I agreed with the conversation. So I heard a friend of mine say that we never took the rainbow, we just took something innocent. Far as, you know, as a baby, you know, when we're born into this world, we're innocent. There's no judgment, there's no label, you're just innocent. You know nothing about stigma, what's right, what's wrong, what's deemed acceptable or what's deemed unacceptable. The rainbow is just deemed as a happy place. It's just pure joy. So that's why they took, this is what I heard. Not saying it's true, but they took the rainbow and they made that as the slogan for the LGBT community. For one, because everybody loved the colors. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's something that you're supposed to generally get happy once you see it. So it's to let you know that we are here, we want to be accepted, we want to be loved. And I definitely agreed with that. I was like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. I never heard the story behind it, but I can agree with that, definitely. But I get your point for saying that, you know, everyone feels, you know, baffled by, you know, they can't wear the rainbow or they're going to be deemed as gay.
So did they add the black and the brown so, you know, it can represent culture? Because, I mean, when I think about the rainbow within, you know, the LGBT community, it's like multicultural, you know, different colors. But I don't feel like we have to put the black and the brown on there for it to represent the same thing that it's been representing for years for the LGBT community.
Well, you know, surprisingly, and even though this came from a white person, surprisingly, the white culture, the gay white culture, I'll say, felt like, well, they even felt like, or they heard from the black gay culture. And I don't know how true this is because I wasn't able to find the statistics on it, but the white gay culture felt or either heard from the black gay culture that we didn't feel represented in the rainbow. So they decided to add black and brown into the rainbow. That's what I heard, but I'm not for sure or how true that is. Just as well as, you know, other people of how they identified, they didn't feel represented in just the LGBT slogan. So they had to add QIA and then plus for whatever else generally down the line they're going to add on, which I always felt was problematic because I felt like we already our own entity within this whole LGBT umbrella. I feel if you're already represented under that umbrella, how you identify under that umbrella by yourself should just be on your own. I don't feel like you should now take the slogan LGBT and now throw this how you feel as an individual in there as well. Why you have to be identified and added as an individual all together in one umbrella. You can't fit everything under one umbrella, because soon, no matter how much we put under this slogan, we're still going to have one person or a few others, whether it's 2 or 3, that's going to come along and say, well, I don't fit into that. What the hell are we going to do then? It just becomes an ideal that just blows up in our face, and you just be like, and to a point, came to the point where I was like, fuck it.
And excuse me if I'm ignorant, but isn't there like pansexual? So you're gonna add the P to it.
Let me tell you.
What?
Don't no suggestions.
Going and going and going, right?
No suggestions.
Have the whole alphabet.
No suggestions.
It's already in there. They didn't already applied it, but because I want to make sure I actually answer your direct question. Secondly, what rainbows are supposed to symbolize is hope and solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, that's the foundation of what they symbolize. Now, the only yes, because of how popular it's become and how gay folks use that as their slogan. I particularly don't. I'm not a fan. I don't like rainbow strawberry. I could tell you, I'm not even no, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm not here for it. I don't care for it. That's the connection to it, but it was never inherently just like a child's thing. It was never inherently a child thing. It wasn't anybody's thing. It was just physics, rain, sunshine, and a cloud. That's all it really was. And humans, over the course of time and years, decided to adapt and turn it into what they felt like it feels like it means to them to see it. And then
they put the stamp on there. They put the label on there.
Yeah.
Right. And then also the other backtrack, because I was the quick point. When it comes to pronouns, folks wouldn't have to fight so hard to be seen if folks would accept people for when they show up. We wouldn't have to have this conversation of, girl, why y'all keep adding another letter? Why do y'all keep around things that are not harming or hurting anyone? If you would accept folks and open the door and let them in and let them be who they are, you wouldn't have to fight for it. You wouldn't have to fight for a space if you were being given space. And yeah, that's my 2 points on at least on those things. Because I was like, we didn't caveat it, so I don't even know if we're ever going back to this Dave Chapelle thing.
I was going to take you back to the Dave Chapelle thing because
I got a question because you made me have a question and I ain't asked it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Mimi made me think of the bathroom, right? So I'm wondering, I'm looking at the picture when I go to the bathroom. Do you think that picture is I don't think you know what? I was supposed to do a darn giveaway. It's been 37 minutes. Anyway, okay. Back. The man and the woman in one sign, right? I take it that's supposed to be transsexual. But I don't think that's really what the fight was about. So what do you think about the picture and the way that they came to the solution of that fight? And what are your thoughts on the origination of the fight?
Okay, so if you see me getting my phone, I'm literally notating so I don't forget what I'm about to say. It's a very helpful thing. But so first and foremost, there is no quote unquote, it's not a trans thing, it's a unisex sign. It's been used before the conversation even became a thing, where if you go to a bathroom at a gas station, there's a unisex sign because nigga, they only got one bad gas station. Everybody got to use it. So one person at a time, man or woman, you go in there, do your business, and get the hell out. It's just that simple. People try to, and be clear, and most time it's very homophobic people, transphobic people who go out of their way to overcomplicate the simplest of shit. No, I thought it was ridiculous that we were even having a conversation because people kept pushing this image because it wasn't so much they're tripping about trans men going into the bathroom where other men are per se. They were pushing the idea that it was trans women and it was these manly butch ass men hairy, wearing a wig, calling themselves women and walking in. And let's be clear, there are some of those who do identify as such and who look and live as such. And we still respect them. But they put it on this level of, as always, they always seem to add LGBTQ folk to fucking predators. And somehow we're in the same streamline all the time. And so that's what they consistently conflate together. So they go with this idea that, oh, these masculine looking trans women that were quote unquote born men are coming into these male stalls and preying on my child.
But they forget that boys can be preyed on too.
Exactly.
Boys are always being preyed on, but girl, don't nobody ever want to check the uncle in their damn family. Because I'm tired of all these black kids with trauma talking about so-and-so done touched me and don't nobody want to talk about it.
Uncle or cousin.
Uncle, cousin, mama's dad, like there are people, baby. It's just ridiculous. But it was a mess. It was, to me, it was complete bullshit. It was complete mess. And it's sad that there are certain states in the country that have like made it a law that you can only use the bathroom that you were assigned at. And it puts folks at risk. It really, really does, especially because they don't realize that not everyone still has the genitalia they were assigned at birth. Like you, so I got surgery. So you telling me I have to take my vagina in a man's best restroom? In what realm? In what realm? Like, girl.
So can we talk about the, being touched, and maybe that's where a lot of these phobias come from individuals who have been touched maybe as a young child, and so they're trying to figure out.
I don't. So I will, and this is me personally, I don't feel like that's actually where the phobias come from. I think it is bullshit, to my personal opinion. I think it is a something people like to use as a fallback upon to try to correlate that, oh, if you got touched at a certain point in your life, then it's no surprise that you probably are this. Because if you were inappropriately touched by someone who is the same gender, then yeah, it's no surprise you're this. Or if you were inappropriately touched by someone who was a different gender, and then it quote unquote turned you off from that gender, so now you're gay. Like, I think that's people's pop out for stuff, because there's far too many of us black folk whom have been touched and still turned out the exact way they are. Like, it's like
right. I asked that. The reason why I asked that, because at a certain age, an individual will get this sensation, and so I'm trying to understand: is the feeling?
Well, so I would say that it's just the thought behind it, and like she said, the traumatization behind it as well. Because of course, if a man see a trans man in the bathroom, not saying he would even know if it's a trans man versus a woman seeing a woman in the bathroom, depending on her manly features or whatever, like, to assume that this trans woman would either rape you or touch you. I mean, for the most part, most of the women, honestly, I'm not gonna say. It all depends on what you feel. Honestly, to say, because I had a friend, she was like, it all depends on what I feel at the end of the day. She's like, if I'm in a bad mood, then whoever about to get attacked at that moment is just going to get attacked at that moment. And it's fucked up as it sounds, but she was speaking real shit, because she was like, it all depends on the moment that I feel if I'm going to tackle a situation and handle it the way that I'm going to handle it. And sometimes ignorance is just bliss. Like, some people are so infused with ignorance because they so by the Bible, or they so by whatever they was just embedded within their household. Some things they just feel the need they have to speak on, and not even just speak on it, but do something about it as well. Just like kids at elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools, like, they feel like they have to pick on you because you look different or walk different or act different, because even they seen it on TV and it was made fun of as a joke, which was problematic in the beginning, because everybody took something that was represented in the LGBT community and they put it on television and they made it always in a jokingly manner. I don't know if that was their way or their form to try to shape it into being accepting, but it didn't help at all. It just made it worse for the LGBT people who identified, and it made bullying horrible. It made harassing more horrible, made suicide rates go up. So it was just to take that whole narrative of generally what to do and how to do it and trying to make people feel comfortable while I'm trying to feel comfortable in my own skin at the same time is just so problematic. And it's too much pressure for one to put on themselves. I personally myself, I use the men and the women bathroom when I was in elementary school, middle school, high school, even till today. Whatever bathroom looks to clean, that's where I'm going. I don't care who in there. And it's always, no one never really generally had a problem with me going in any bathroom. Like, men will get confused and be like, you know, this is the men's bathroom. I'm like, yeah, and I'm a dude. The fuck? Like, when just trying to say, I mean, my flat chested female, what's up? And if I go in the women's bathroom, most of the time they just either look at me or they laugh, and it'd be no problem. I've never had an issue with a female, me being in the women's bathroom. Because I go to my thing and I leave.
Okay, but
so
let me ask you this question. Only because, you know, I have access to your IG.
Mm-hmm.
When you are going into the female's bathroom, is this when you are wearing female clothing?
Brother, I'd rather have on female clothes or men clothes. And I've told so many people, you know, that question me or ask me about, you know, how I identify. They ask me if I'm gay or if I'm going trans or if I identify as non-binary. And I'm like, I don't identify as nothing. I'm a human being. I like male and women clothes. Clothes are clothes to me. Y'all put the labels on them. If I feel like I look good in it, I'm gonna put it on. I don't have time for all of that. I'm not a drag. I'm not a nothing. I'm just me living the best life, looking good, feeling good, and however I feel like dressing today is how I feel like dressing day on day. So, but yeah, I use the women bathroom in any clothes, men or women.
So before the fight, to be accepting of letting people use the bathroom that they, you know, feel is with their identity, were you having problems before?
So I've never had problems, but I always heard of other people having problems. And then, you know, of course, we saw the whole issues and scenario, and I thought it was just as irritating. I was like, okay, well, just use the fucking unisex sign. If it was that big of a deal, then just change the damn signs and use the unisex signs. It's not that serious. A toilet is a toilet, for real, for real. It is what it is. If everybody wants to sit down and pee, let them sit down. I always sat down and pee my whole life. The only time I stand up and pee is if I have a hard on. That is it. And I don't want my, you know what, to touch the water. That's it. But other than that, I'm sitting down. I always sat down. And that was even before I knew I was gay. I just sat down and pee.
But Mimi, come on, you know, back in the day when we were in school, we wear the baggy pants.
Right.
Like we
the
were
cross colors.
We hung out with a lot of boys, you know. And so here we go. Here, I mean, it's the same thing. Like you say, you feel comfortable in female clothing. Well, at that time in the 90s, that's what was hot. And we were wearing the Dickies and some big hoodies and t-shirts and the boots and everything. So everything that we have gone back and we've talked about today is always just strictly based on labels, stereotypes. You know,
like the 60s and 70s, like disco, everything was tight. Everything was tight. Straight men wore halter tops, all that. It didn't matter.
Glitter. But even before
glitter, shining, glowing, old
but
body,
even before
everything.
Time, they used to wear
big
dresses.
Old heels, big heels.
Men used to wear dresses.
Men
even
used
before
to wear
women
dresses.
Did. Men wore dresses before, and you know, men created makeup.
Yeah.
They wore makeup before women did. Women had no rights. They had to stay in the house. That was your only assignment. Stay home, keep it clean, cook, and take care of the kids. Men put on these shows, these plays. Men were kissing men. The gay community has been around for so long. Trans community has been around for so long. They just identified as two-spirited people. That go all the way back to Indians, Hawaiians, all that. Like, it's all in the history. You just got to actually have the time or even want the time to go look and read. Like, the LGBT community has been here. They just now decided to put a freaking label and stamp to it, which made it even more complicated and irritating. And here we are today.
Okay, so I was about to say about the bathroom. Like, what's so crazy to me is, like, let's say the women's bathroom for myself would be full and the male bathroom is empty. Do you know men would say, oh, you can go ahead and use the bathroom before me?
Yeah, and they was and generally someone would stand. They would normally stand in front of the door and let them know, like, it's a female in there.
Yeah,
and wait till you to finish using it. That's it.
People are using these things to mask their transphobia.
Yeah, it's pointless. Pointless conversations, pointless arrogance, pointless arguments that people just keep on bringing up, and then everyone else for some reason continue with it on.
So to go back on the Dave Chapelle issue, like when he got real teary-eyed about his friend, how
that made me cry. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm sorry.
It made me cry too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, it really did. And the fact that he said like she got bullied and that she took her own life because of all the bullying that people were doing because she was standing up for him. I mean, that hurts my feelings, but like I just wanted to know, like, do you guys like when we become your ally as well?
When it's genuine and done right, of course. But folks, the idea of what an ally is and looks like, it's kind of getting lost in the sauce now, because a lot of people have turned it into tokenism, and people low-key be disrespecting it and not realizing that they're not actually using their power and their privilege to be an ally. They're just using their power and privilege to keep their power and privilege. And honestly, I just watched it today. I hadn't watched it. I honestly didn't care to. And I like full trans. I'm a legit Dave Chapelle fan. Have been. I'm also a fan of a lot of like hella inappropriate jokes and funny shit, like things that you really shouldn't laugh at. The things that we laugh at and be like, "Girl, I'm going straight to hell." Them things. Right to hell. Them things. I laugh. I genuinely laugh at them. I can take a joke. Especially because I don't be understanding people that be growing up in the hood, nigga. I don't know. All I know is people be bagging on each other. So, I understand when some folks get upset about stuff. But I see this, for me, the show overall archingly did not really offend me that much. But I can say and see where jokes missed and how they landed incorrectly. But also, I think his goal was empathy and humanity, but it got lost in the process. It got lost in the process of the joke, and then throwing Daphne in there in the way that he did, it comes across slightly a little bit of tokenism, and you're using the death of this white trans woman, which ultimately is also a white trans woman, to kind of propel the fact that to support like you're quote unquote not transphobic, which I don't actually think he's homophobic or transphobic. I don't think he's any of the phobics, honestly.
It doesn't seem like it.
Like another black person, another black man, a regular black cisgendered man or woman, like just learning. And I think for all of those who are not a part of the community and empathize and connected to that level of humanity, then I think he did his job. So because a lot of folks are saying how they learned and how they respected what was being said. Now, granted, like I said, some of the stuff that he said was a little off-putting, and it kind of landed incorrectly, and it pushed a stereotype that's like low-key not the truth or not real. So level of empathy and humanity for folks, and I think for folks who are genuinely not understanding the way the world is changing, those are the folks he was talking to the most. Like that wasn't for me. That wasn't for me.
So so let me just flip this a little bit. So it would have probably been more acceptable if he was a trans man or woman telling that joke, right? Because that's like us getting offended if someone's using the N-word.
Yeah, it's not, because
in my opinion. Because
when we tell a joke as Black people, we're telling a joke that actually has facts and truth within it. But that is an experience of every, like, I'm telling you because not only it's my experience of me and other folks like me in this community. So when a white person were to go to do the same thing, it's not going to land correctly. It's incorrect. And especially because they don't know the culture, they're going to use references and stereotypes that are not the truth about the Black community at all.
But it didn't belong to Dave. It didn't belong to Dave because he wasn't a trans man or woman. Yeah, but let's say Gary Owen gets up there, he starts throwing out the N-word in his comedy jokes. We're going to cancel him.
I don't believe in cancel culture. I think cancel culture is shit. I think it's bull. I don't.
Or we're going to go in on him because that word doesn't belong to him. Because it doesn't belong to him. We feel like that word belongs to us, and so with Dave Chapelle, he's not transgender. He shouldn't have said it, is what, the masses are talking about. And I think that it's unfair to say that.
So I know that it didn't land right. So I totally did not see it that way until
there
you
was
said it about the
because he
tokenism.
tried to talk about the differences of what it felt like to have a neoplastic vagina and a actual born with vagina. That joke lands incorrectly because let me be very clear. I thoroughly be asking niggas. So, and y'all see how upfront honest I am on this call. Like, it's not that's bull. And it's like, sir, it's okay if you haven't had trans vagina, it's fine, but don't talk about it like you know about it, because it works just as well. But that was
now you have piqued my interest. Because I want to know how. Because y'all don't have the natural, like.
Yeah. I can tell you.
Now I want to know. I need a.
I think this is not for YouTube.
Okay. Look. Okay. This is not for YouTube.
I mean, I can make it educational because you can find these. You can find literally them do like. There's a lot you can find on YouTube, and as long as you make it clear that it's educational, and you make that description and like make it clear in the video as well, YouTube will like overlook stuff. But yeah, I can explain all of those things. Like I can explain the workings of it and be like, for educational purpose for you anytime.
So this is a comeback news. It's gonna be a new one.
Tabling for next.
So we can put the warning label.
Okay.
See.
So, but I know. So I wanted to speak on the joke that well, not even necessarily the joke. Well, no, I guess it was the joke. Well, no, that at that point it wasn't a joke. So I had a few trans sisters that felt real highly offended when David Chapelle was talking about, how we all generally came out of a female vagina. And he was speaking on it, he was like, they felt really offended, but only to this concept of them not being able to give birth. And so I had to speak on. I was like, so I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, you have to also understand, your place in life at this point in time. Like, yes, you look good, you got the sex change, you got everything you want, and now you live in the life that you want to live as a woman. But also on the other side, you got to understand and accept the things that you can and can't do, because this is something that you wasn't blessed with. This is not an ability that you have. It's not a gift that your body is able to produce. So even on that, I still don't feel like you should have been offended by it, because you can't do that. You can't give birth. You don't have the organs to create and give birth in life. That's
it was just facts.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, even though no matter how bad you want to be able to do that, and it's beautiful that you even want to share that experience that women go through. It's beautiful. Go ahead, have the periods, bleed, cramps, do it all. I never want to be that close to a woman. We are friends. I'm here for a shoulder if you need it, advice if I have it, money if I can spare it. But that's it. All that other shit you can keep to yourself, because you was born with that. Only you know how to survive that. I don't even want to experience that. And I won't even question.
I even want to say that, not even all women. Like, I grew up with, my mother had a couple friends who had fertility issues. And so even when we get really offended, even I think when trans and gay people get offended about who can have babies and who's not even all born females can have children either. So, I'm just saying,
Well, no, I mean, but that's important. But I was just speaking from, a lot of my trans sisters, being upset because of that fact. And it's like, well, he wasn't he never said anything about trans people not being able to give birth. If you took it that way, I'm sorry, but even if he did say it, it's still
it wasn't
true.
about
it's a slippery slope, because it's always a part of the argument that people use to demonize and say what proves and makes you not of a woman. And on the flip side, at the same time, it's all just like even though what Christian is saying is true, it's also problematic to still say for cisgender women, because they don't like that comparison either. It's not okay to say, like, just because I can't, and then you want to use it, because then they feel like they're being inflated with us, who literally couldn't if we tried, where something went wrong or something happened or something's going on that caused them to not be able to. And so it's a very slippery slope. And I just wish folks would stop trying to prove their manhood and their womanhood when it comes to
so I'll only add to that point as far as so I only add to that. So because I agree with you, but even before trans women not being able to have kids, which we kind of should have kind of already knew. But even before that, if people with HIV, they said if you have HIV or AIDS, you can't have kids. Like that issue and that problem came way before that, and that was demonized. And even till today, that's still a huge thing. Even though it's still possible to have kids, whether you HIV or have AIDS or whatever, but it's still possible. But some people still believe they can't have kids because they either got HIV or cancer or whatever the case is. Not trying to compare the two, but just saying.
No, it's all based on fear.
But I will say it's a slippery slope. Yes, I will agree.
So they felt like he was jabbing at them is basically what it was, because they can't have kids.
Yeah, because when he made it, so convenient that we have to accept the fact that we all came out of a vagina, but that wasn't necessarily saying that you can't have kids. It was just saying, like he said, he was not saying that you're not a man or a woman because you was born whatever you were born. He was just saying you came out of a woman, like regardless of whatever or however you identify, you still came out of a woman at the end of the day, and that's all he was saying. Oh, she gotta go now. But
All right, bye. It was a pleasure, and I learned a lot, guys, and I appreciate you guys.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you for being here.
Yes, and hopefully we'll talk about this again.
Oh yes.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. So we brought up earlier about how Dave Chapelle was able to weave in the story and all of that, and I do believe that is the essence, the quality that makes Dave Chapelle who he is, which is why his comedy speaks to white people and black people. That's something that not everybody. Kevin Hart can't do nothing like that. He can't do that. So where was I also gonna go with that? I was also gonna say, so the feminism, when he talked about being a feminist, right? I feel that also him being the messenger is also what helps him, right? So if this whole thing being an issue was the white LGBT or the white gays or the white whatever, I think that one, yes, white people do tend to take over things and make it a problem and all this, they want to fight. But taking it back, because he never talks about just one thing. He talks about multiple things. So feminism, when Monique talked about all the things that female comedians, particularly black ones, have to go through, how much they don't get paid, it all seemed to become a personal fight of hers. That's how people made it. But then what happened? Then white actresses started to speak out. Then it also happened to Wanda Sykes. And then all these other people started to get all these Netflix specials. And then they canceled Netflix, right? And now Dave Chapelle comes back and he has the specials on Netflix. So just bringing it back around to us talking about cancel culture, I think that the right messenger also plays a part. What do y'all think?
Well, I agree with what Aurora said earlier. I personally, myself, I don't believe in cancel culture. I really think it's stupid. But if it was utilized in the right way, because really, like they said, these celebrities, these stars, movies, anything that all of us as people buy, no one will make it without our purchases, basically. So yes, I do understand the power that we all have as a community, as one, when we put our funds to wherever we're going to put our funds to. But as far as the whole cancel culture, trying to take him back, if I'm going to support this person or not, or if this person is no longer available or relevant, that's kind of it's kind of like worrisome to me. It makes me not even want to be famous, because I'm like, okay, now I do have to walk on eggshells worrying about what I say or what I do just because of my own belief or what I don't believe in, or if they're gonna feel like I'm backstepping on my own community or my own views and values. It's like it's too much to think about trying to please everyone of every culture, of every stance, and I don't want to deal with that.
So do we think that the cancel culture came from the black side of us, or is it really a white person behind that cancel culture?
I want to say it's a young people thing. I want to say it's a thing. I think it's I feel like it can only exist in like the social media era, where like we can choose who we like and who we engage with on the internet. So it really is just like a Gen Z. They're like, nope, if you share this person's video, you're doing violence. So I feel like it's a young people thing, to be honest.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, we owe Monique a huge apology because she took Netflix to court and won.
Yeah.
Over her ass, huge fucking apology. That y'all.
I don't owe her an apology. I had her back. I supported everything she was saying.
I mean,
gotta look into this. I don't know.
Her an apology because folks dropped her like it was nobody's business.
Yes, and that irritated me.
Like acted like she was crazy and tripping. I'm like, Monique has a track record as a black woman comedian. She got a hell of a track record and deserves all the things.
Yeah, that's new to me. I gotta look into that.
Oh yeah, it was a lot. Because not even just as a black, not even just as a black woman.
It wasn't publicized as much as it was about her wanting to sue them. Of course, it's very interesting if you think about the things that are publicized and then the outcome of those things, and when they don't play to the image that they've already created, how they go slid under the radar. Like prime example, do you know? And this for all the men, genuinely all the men out there. Do you know how many times men that have been literally lied on about raping and took it to court for the actual person to come out and actually admit that they were lying about it, or they had never even been in the same vicinity? But it doesn't come back up. It's not brought up. It's not put on a major headline as it is to say so-and-so is accusing so-and-so celebrity of rape. So whenever the scenario does not play out in the favor that they need it to get the headline, you're not going to hear about it. You're not going to know anything about it.
So, and that's what I was speaking on, where we say what's deemed acceptable and unacceptable, just so the world that we live in, and is that it's so problematic nowadays. And I understand why everyone is so not even say nervous, but I mean, I guess I will say nervous because you do find a lot of celebrities, speaking on, they say, well, sometimes I'm scared to post on Twitter or Instagram or say certain things because I don't know what I'll say that's going to offend whoever, not even just the LGBT community, but whoever, because
or they reach back.
Yeah, because craziness that we be doing lately, going back years back, like you said. Finding something they posted like years ago and bringing it, talking about some, oh, you transphobic, you homophobic, you dysphobic, you like, oh my God, like.
And what if they had changed their mind, or somebody helped them change their mind?
Because I used to tell people all the time, like, I never believed in the whole bisexual thing. I never believed in that. To me, being bisexual, you were greedy, but that was my mindset back in the day. But that was to me. I was like, how you gonna love a man and a woman? Like, damn, pick one. I'm just trying to get one. I'm only attracted to one. Why you gotta be attracted to both? Like, what the fuck? You greedy. That was to me, my own personal views and values. Right, but as I grew up, I just said, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Do you? You got to deal with that. You want to deal with a man and a woman? Ha, that's on you.
That's big headaches.
Okay. I'm only dealing with one. I understand one gender. I don't want to deal with the other.
On that note, I think on that question, I think authenticity goes a long way. As long as you are authentic, then your jokes will connect, your content will connect. You know what I'm saying? What you have to say is going to connect with people. I think that's why people are standing up that's why people are standing up for Dave. I can hear Tony, you're somehow on mute but screaming at me.
I'm not screaming at you. I was saying that's not true, because if that was the case, then like people like Cardi wouldn't have to censor themselves so much.
Yeah.
And she would be allotted the freedom to fuck up, stand fuck up, say something messed up, stand in her ignorance, be taught, corrected, learn from it, and move on about with that change. She has to, if you realize Old Cardi was heavy on her posts, was heavy on Twitter, heavy vocal. She don't get that no more. She has to consistently pull back, and literally she keeps saying every time that she says something and they twist it or make it even bigger or make a thing out of it. She says, "This is why I don't speak, because every time I do, y'all make it a problem and y'all make it an issue." And she's literally being her authentic self. So we don't live in a world where authenticity really can shine through. It'll shine through, but people are still going to have a problem with it.
Right, you can't accept it.
Truly loved and accepted. If
Like,
that was
even
good,
with-
we wouldn't have to have this conversation.
Yeah, even with Nicki Minaj, like that's why I love and respect her so much, because she don't care. Like she gonna be like, I don't give a fuck. I ain't say that. You ain't gonna put words in all. Like Nicki goes the fuck off. She don't care if she didn't care that Twitter canceled her account. She didn't care if Instagram canceled her account. She was still on Facebook, or she was sending out in messages and having other people tweet for her. Like Nicki said, like she ain't give a fuck. She was like, I'm not going to be silenced. I'm not worried about if you accept me or not. Like, no, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. I'm not going to say what you tell me to say. Like, I'm my own individual and I respect how I live my life. And I was like, and I respect her about that. Like, no, and it is irritating that you can't be authentic without being looked down upon. Like, oh, she problematic or they problematic. How they problematic just because they don't want to live in the imagery that you want them to be in? Like, I feel like every rapper don't have to share the same thing. Exactly. Like, why do every rapper got to share the same story of coming from a hood, being shot, being stabbed, money over bitches? Like, is that only what rap is consist of? Like, damn.
That's exactly where I was about to go. Like, I think it falls back to the messenger, as well as, like y'all were mentioning earlier, a generational thing.
Yeah.
Because Cardi being herself, Nicki being herself, Lil Nas X being himself, right? The message is gonna be delivered to who it needs to go to. But people, maybe my age, but definitely older, are gonna talk about being an entertainer, being a whomever. You need to stay in your lane. Because I am going to say, for certain, I don't want any messages coming from Snoop. Specifically Snoop, because he goes back and forth. Dude, are you done calling females out of their name? Are you trying to do your little football soccer league thing? But you done came back now, you rapping, and then he still got all this other stuff. He
has a Christian album too.
General for Seagram's Gin. Like, no, I don't want him delivering any more messages.
He got him a gospel album. What you talking about?
I wasn't even gonna mention that.
No, now multiple, and then if we say Steve Harvey, that's another one.
Okay,
now him, yes, he's got multiple streams. Oh no. Okay, yeah. Steve Harvey with his multiple streams of income, right? He may or may not have a good word. Sometimes what he puts down is good. Sometimes it ain't. Then we got Nick Cannon. People wanted to cancel him for some stuff that he said and done, right? But sometimes you gotta like see through the messenger to get the message. And like we said before, if it ain't for you, then it ain't for you.
Plain and simple.
So back to y'all.
But yeah, so that just goes back to even before the LGBT community had a problem with David Chapelle. You know, women had a problem with David Chapelle too, you know, because he always identified women as bitches. Like that's what he, you know, just like he called men niggas, he say, you know, women bitches. Like that's his vocabulary for it. And as you clearly see, he wasn't changing it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because when they was calling him a feminist, they was trying to use it as a derogatory term. They was using it as to, you know, attack him, saying that he was a feminist. But like he said, he looked it up and he was like, well, yeah, I am a feminist. I stand for women rights. Like, so yeah, I am a feminist. And it's funny how we try to take words that actually have good meaning, because even I thought that the word feminist was, you know, derogatory, or I thought it was negative until I looked it up. Even before this whole closure, like even before, like when people used to call me a feminist, I was like, well, bitch, I'm not a feminist, because they used the term that they used it in and how they used it until I discovered what it was. And I was like, oh, well, bitch, I am a feminist. Okay, so what? It's not a bad thing to be a feminist. I was like, so what was, I was trying to understand, like, well, where was the terminology, or how did you think, or what was in your mind to identify a feminist as before you even called this word to me or to anybody? Like, even when we go back to the word faggot, like, I never got offended by the word faggot. I didn't even understand how other gay people did. I was like, it's a bundle of sticks. I'm not understanding. Like, why we mad at this word? It literally says a bundle of sticks. I don't get it.
Wait,
Yeah, like
when they say
the
bitch is a dog.
Yes, the definition of faggot is a bundle of sticks. I was like, we're getting mad because they took the word bundles of sticks and called it to us. So because they're using it in a derogatory term, we're getting mad at it. Okay, because of how they're using it. I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah, but something in your education taught you that.
Well, no,
I did not know that until at least older than 25. Right. I did not know that.
Well, I just didn't care.
Single cigarette. Like, I didn't know that stuff.
Yeah.
Faggot, sweet, sugar in the tank, like that's all. Your education put you onto that. So the typical Black person don't know that that's a bundle of sticks.
I did.
But no,
like I said, the typical Black person.
Let me tell you, before I was
non-typical.
But before I was judged by the white community, I was judged, teased, harassed, made fun of by nothing but my Black community. So it all started there. I heard the faggot, sweet, all that other shit. I heard all the horrible things from my own community. But that's only because they didn't know if I identified as Black or white. And then because I was feminine, they just automatically deemed me as being gay. I didn't even know what gay was until I hit middle school. That's when I found out I was gay, that I was a bottom, and that's all this other stuff. I was like, damn, this is labels on top of labels. I'm like, how y'all gonna call me a bottom? They was like, well, if you like riding dick, you're a bottom.
You're oversharing, baby. You're oversharing.
I'm just saying.
We gonna get kicked off YouTube.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So to tie it up, I'm just basically saying the world we live in, as you get older, you literally just learn more labeling and constructive criticism that the world itself put on you, that they deem either appropriate or inappropriate or acceptable or unacceptable. And it's still happening even till today, to the point where we're overly sensitive on literally anything, every topic or subject.
So do you think that you get more support by the Black female or Black men, or vice versa, the white female or white men?
That's a good question.
For my community, because I believe that I'm loved by all. I get loved by, my white and Black community, but I do definitely get more love from my Black community. Whether you gay, straight, trans, or whatever, like I get all my love more love from my Black community. The majority of my white community, some of them don't agree with, because a lot of us, or a lot of them. No, I'm gonna say a lot of us, because sometimes I sometimes feel the same way they do with some of, because I've had a conversation with one of my white friends, who is an ally, and he said, I don't have a problem with you being gay. It's just that sometimes I feel like I don't want everything that you're open to be exposed to, my children. And I understand what he's saying from a point, because, to identify with it or to see it is to kind of like influence you in some type of way, situation, scenario. I'm just saying, I understand the slippery slope with it. But I'm not saying I understand the slippery slope with it, like because you don't know something until you see it or experience it. So I get that. And then you put it in your mind if it's right, if it's wrong, or if you like it or if you don't like it. But then from your elders, whether it be your friends or your family or your mother and father, you hear from them if that's right or wrong, or if it's good or bad. So even if you think it's good and they're telling you it's bad, you already conflicted right there. So even though I was already involved with men before even finding out I was gay, I was already hearing bad things about it. So of course I'm going to keep it to myself, because I'm already hearing bad things about it. So it's like, why share this part of me if it's already being looked down upon?
Right.
Which is why, there's so many DL men, that's forced to live this life that they deemed acceptable, because a man is supposed to be with a woman and you're supposed to have kids and y'all supposed to have a family, point blank, period. That's it. Man, woman, kids. That's the general lifestyle that's been deemed acceptable. That's why in even till today's society, that's still the modern society. Even though, they trying to change it up now, with a lot of these movies or cartoons when they put gay couples together with kids or whatever the case is. And it's cute that they trying. I get it, maybe. But it's just, it's a tad too late. And people still doing it anyway. But the fact that you have to do it and be not even shy about it, but just kind of like hide it just to protect not only yourself but your kids, is that makes me sad, because I know lesbian families and I know gay families, that people that got two mothers or two fathers, but they hide that to protect their child, for they don't have to go through that harassment, or they don't have to go through that harassment with people demonizing them for living a lifestyle and bringing a child into it. It's crazy.
All I was going to say is that Black women, I think, are the most loving and kind to in my life, in my experiences, most of the other gay people I meet. Black women, strangers on the streets, just see my little gay butt walking up the street, and they just go out their way to be nice and to offer community. And that's been true in cities all around the world, to be honest. And I think that white people are well intentioned to be an LGBT ally. I went to a white university. I work around white people in my bar, but I'll say that most of the times it doesn't really connect the way and it's going to in their mind. I'm like, why did you say that like that? Why did you do that? So yeah, that was just my 2 cents on that, on the question that was asked.
I guess that just leave me. I ain't gonna hold you. My experience is definitely not of there. So yeah, no, I don't claim any community because I've dealt with fuck shit from all of them, including my own. So it's more for me. I'm in a place where I don't focus on the community. I focus on the individuals. Because if I keep trying to focus on the community, I'm going to keep getting myself hurt, because there's a lot of fakeness within the community, and like fake love, fake support, a lot of tokenism, and people not genuinely caring about me or my person or people like myself. So yeah, no, it's the individual and it's the person. And on that front, I'm pretty sure I could probably pick one from all types of communities per se, but I would never claim a one as being like my
more than the other.
You feel comfortable or happy at now.
Right. So like when my son came to me and told me that he was, he liked men, it was a shock to me, and it was like hard for me to get over for a minute, but I had to realize he's his own person. He has to choose his own life. So it came to me like that, but at first it was tough because I gotta look, I was like, man, I'm not gonna have any grandkids. But then I'm like, yeah, I could have grandkids because he can adopt. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you opening up yourself more to figure it out as a parent. I guess me as a parent coming to you guys, I think as a parent, we just have to look at it differently and accept them for who they are and love them, because that's who you birth. You love them regardless of their choices. So like with my daughter, like I said, she's both. She likes men and women. So I'm there for her. Whatever you want. If you want to cry, I can't tell you about men, but I sure can tell you about women to her, because I mean, like, we women, we know this things, but I really try to support my kids and let them know that, whatever you decide is what you decide, and don't hide it from anyone, because I'm still going to have your back regardless. So my son used to be scared to tell my parents, and I'm like, I'll tell them, that's me. Cause I be like, I wish you would say something to mine. So yeah, so I guess I'm their ally, because I just want them to know, don't be afraid. But I do also let them know, out in the real world, sometimes you do have to be cautious.
And that's definitely fair to say, and I thank you for sharing that. I have a homegirl, so it's like she loves me, and I'm the godmother, as she say. I'm the godmother to her kids. So when one of her daughters decided to come out to her as being gay, she loved that, saying that she was a lesbian, that she loved females. she wasn't okay with it, and she called me because they got into this huge fight and this argument because she was like, well, I don't want my child to go to hell. Like, she was expressing all this stuff to me. She's like, I don't want my child to go to hell. Da, 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 da. Like, she was just speaking, a lot of bad stuff. But it was that religion, that was embedded in her that she was speaking on. So after she finished, I was like, okay, well, first, I'm gonna let you know that I felt slightly attacked. I'm like, well, girl, how you gonna say you love me? But I said, is this how you feel about me? But she was like, no, I love you. I don't have no problem. I said, well, how you gonna love me? But then you're gonna tell me that you have an issue with your daughter being lesbian, and now you talking about putting her out. Like, girl, that's your daughter.
Oh,
like, I said, so you rather have your daughter out on the street because she loved the same sex, but you okay with me being gay as hell, wearing men or women clothes, wearing heels, being out here crop top, living my best lifestyle, having it all up with these men, but your daughter can't be with
them are the parents you got to be careful of, boy.
Okay,
I know you're talking about. Luckily, she a good one.
I know. But no, so we met constantly. We was meeting once a week constantly. All three of us, me, her daughter, and her. Just for her to sit down, have a conversation, and literally ask the questions and talk about everything that she wanted to talk about. And like I told her, I said, I want you to say everything you want to say, so you can get it off your chest, whether it's negative, derogatory, whatever it is. Say it, so you can get it out your system, so we can move forward. So I appreciate you for sharing that. And it always baffled me when parents, disown their kids because they gay. I'm like, you have killers, drug dealers, murderers, all this crazy stuff out here.
I tried what she tried. Like, I'm not Christian. I'm just spiritual. So I tried that to my son. Like, they didn't make Adam and Adam. I tried that. And you know what he came back to me? He said, didn't you tell me that God loves all? I said, damn. So, I couldn't say nothing else.
And it's so interesting because you find people like that all over. And all you got to do is listen to them. Like, you be with them and not realizing, and they'll say stuff like, girl, I love you, but girl, my child couldn't be gay. Like,
I know,
that's all them be the ones. Them be the ones. And there were so many of them like that for me in high school, because I came from Georgia. And I was like the favorite gay. And it was just like, every time you look, like, oh, I love you, but my child can't be gay. And it's just like, what?
I feel like it's always a mental thing. Like I said, it's all about, because it all starts in the household, because your house is all about what you.
If you think about it, would y'all be as scared about it, or because the two things that I've always realized is, I know that parents are fearful of the life that they would have to live, because it's well known and well documented what goes on with LGBT folk. Even if you ain't in the community, a lot of bad fucked up shit happens to them.
Yeah.
So I understand that fear, and then I understand the religious aspect of it. But if it was genuinely, if culture had propped it up years ahead of time, and it was seen as a great thing,
mm-hmm.
or a plus, would you really have an issue? Would it really be a problem? And it's like, it concerns me how wrapped up people can get.
The only thing I got like upset with, like, one time, I don't know if he was gay or not, but my daughter had a situation with a gay gentleman, and he was extra flamboyant. Can I say that?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so he attacked her though, and hit her. So I had a problem with that, and I think that's just as hit by him, because I just didn't know, why would a man attack a woman?
So who hit who first?
he hit her first.
Like,
she was talking mess, but he hit her first.
Okay, then yeah, no, he was wrong.
And I think that's probably why I was like, I was a little upset about that, but I think I'm just upset with him being him. But sometimes it can actually, sometimes if I look at somebody and they're extra flamboyant, sometimes I'll be like, man, will he fight a girl? Or, because that's how I have the judgment now because of that situation.
Some, if not most, will, but it's not a whole lot. It's not a whole group that's like, oh, girl, I'll just jump and fight a girl off the rip.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, like it's a provoking thing. Like, and it's a constant, and it's very interesting because like I don't understand why women are raised to not think that a man won't hit them back, but are fully aware of domestic violence relationships. Where it showcased that a nigga will hit you whether you hit him first or not.
Yeah.
So
see, I taught my son
because it's not very fair because there are too many women who think it is really okay to be putting their hands on men, and then like, and it be fine, and like, and because I in my past life as a young boy, I was one of them. There were certain girls that literally I would never put my hands on, no matter how much they had hit me. I would not touch them, and it was never fair. But it was just so ingrained in me not to put my hands on a woman. Don't put your hands on a woman.
That's how I do my son.
So I wouldn't, but it would make me so mad because I'm like, bro, this is not fair because I can't hit her, and this girl is wailing on me just because she might not have the same amount of strength. My face is still going to whelp up. My lip still might bleed. She hit me hard enough, my nose will break. Like it's really not fair. But yeah, no, it's not a thing where it's like a whole lot of gay men are jumping out of their pants to go beat down or say I'm going to swing on a girl first. And it gets very blurred lines, but I'll let y'all guys talk more to this because I feel like this is right up his alley.
I just asked this because I need to know, because the world needs to know this, because I know as a woman, I'm not going to raise my hand against any man, period, because I was taught, like, you don't raise your hand against no man, period, because the man is stronger, and which could be, the man can overpower us as women. So my mom always made sure that we were aware, don't put your hands on men, period. So, and for some reason, some women are out there that just feel froggish to do that. I have no clue why, but that's their choice. But it's stupid. And then but my daughter and me, we do have like slick mouths. Yes. But I think that if you can go head to head, tongue to tongue with me, that's what we're going to do. But don't put your hands on me.
Truth be told, yeah. Well, I know. So I grew up in the hood, so I wasn't taught not to hit women. I was taught if somebody hit you, you hit their ass back. I don't care what age or stage or phase they in. If a female hit you, hit her ass back. If a grown man hit you, hit his ass back. Old man, you take that cane and you whoop his ass. So the hood ain't really teach me what I needed to know, but it taught me some good things. But overall, I don't care. So I tell a lot of people my hands are bisexual. I hit men, women in all stages, phases, and ages. If you put your hands on me, then that's it. I could definitely go tongue to tongue with you. But the moment you touch me, that's when you're gonna release me, because I will defend myself. I don't care who you are, what you are. I don't even care if you're a little kid. If your mother or father ain't grab you from hitting me, I'm gonna hit your ass back, and then I'm gonna hit them for me having to deal with you, because I know they about to be mad anyway for me putting my hands on you. So this is a learned experience for everybody. Don't touch me if I don't touch you.
Right. Don't touch nobody. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah. It's a learned experience out here in this world. If you've never been touched before, touch me and you're going to find out something different.
Well, that's a good lesson, though.
Yeah, I used to love meeting people that believed they was untouchable. I was like, oh, okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, you think you the strongest in the world.
Look, okay, I will pick up something real quick. Take that little folded chair, use it as a frisbee.
Right. And I think that I understand why it comes down to that, because like all of the deaths that I have seen with your guys' community, I can see why you guys feel like you have to defend yourselves, and I understand that. So like I tried to explain it to her, but she was so devastated that he hit her, and I was just like,
well, with the men or the men that decide to be extra flamboyant, it's always still a phase that they're going through. They still trying to figure out or discover who they are as a man, like what kind of gay they're going to be, or how they're going to identify, how they're going to portray themselves, that they're still trying to identify that identity that they want to have as that gay man, or even if they're going to stay a gay man, because hell, they might end up being trans. So it's all a phase that they're still going through.
Have you ever noticed, especially even in like media, for like folks who've come out to be gay, and like how out loud it is, like it's all in your face? we all go through that phase.
Oh, really?
All
It's
of
a
us.
phase.
It might look slightly different, but we all go through the exact same phase of I get to say I'm me and fuck all you niggas. Like, and it's just that. And
throw it in your face.
What we want, we gonna act and walk how we want. We gonna. It don't mean that's how we gonna end up when we as we grow a bit older. That's just what we're doing because we can, and it feels good to know that I can do these things, and it don't have to even be like me, but I'm gonna be able to do it, and you can't tell me nothing. Like it's. Girl, Lil Nas X is going through that now because I know this child ain't gonna be like this for his whole life. Okay, because he's baby.
It's all a phase. It's a phase.
Right, he's a baby gay, and that is normal. So it's adorable. Let him get his life. I'm sure he's still gonna be an icon and things of that nature. But I promise you, it's gonna tone and start to shift after a certain point because he's gonna realize you don't got to do all of this.
Okay, because I'm learning this with my son too, because he's starting to paint his nails.
I was gonna ask,
and I was like, you know,
I was gonna ask Christian to speak on it. Like
wearing this pink, he was the Mean Girls for Halloween. I was like, maybe he coming over somewhere else. I don't know. We gonna watch it for a minute. You know, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna sit back and be quiet and watch. Yeah, he coming out. So I mean, hey, however he want to come out is the way he coming out. I'm just gonna watch and enjoy.
And he'll give you a show. Just let him give you his little show.
Right. And I pass it on to all my friends. Girl, you know what he did today?
Okay.
I mean, like, and it's fine with me, but he look good. I mean, hey.
Like even still today, like my mother, she accepts me being gay, but she still don't accept me being gay because I do so much, and because I'm just highly involved in the community and just with myself. So a lot of things, like when I do wear the female clothes, she's like, why you always gotta wear female clothes? I'm like, it's a mixture. It could be a female top, male bottom, or female bottom, male top. Or if I want to wear a dress that day, then hell, I just wore a dress. But it don't matter. The message I'm getting across.
Who said it was male or female? Because it's just a name on the pants.
Exactly. That's it.
I'm just trying to figure out who said it was male or female. Just because you found it under the merchandise women, they can take that sign can fall down, and then what you gonna do?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's why I tell
me the perfect.
That's how.
No, I was gonna say Mimi gave me the perfect segue.
Oh, okay.
You guys have blessed me for so long. I know sometimes StreamYard don't be telling me the truth, but since y'all still with me, I'm gonna do this giveaway. Is that loud? I'm gonna do this giveaway. A face mask. Say lift every voice and sing.
Ooh.
With the t-shirt. I have small, medium, and large. Dang, that's not right. So in the chat, put hashtag Chapelle, and I'm gonna share the screen, and we're gonna do this drawing real quick, and then y'all can keep talking, and I'm because I don't know how many people for real watching. Oh, maybe I should.
Well, Christian, did your how was your coming out situation?
What the heck just happened?
Oh goodness gracious. That's where we're at.
Y'all too. Y'all put it in there too.
Okay. Hashtag Chapelle, right? My coming out process was messy. Y'all know I'm from New Orleans. I was growing up outside of Birmingham, Alabama at the time the Big Chat. So I was outed on accident. My mom's phone was stolen at a bowling alley, and she was using my phone to find her phone. And this boy who I had been texting from a chat room was like, "Are you still bisexual?" While my mom had the phone. I didn't know. And so she had brought me and my friends to the bowling alley. So I see she started acting funny. Like, I'm like, "Can I have my phone back?" And she just like, "No, like, And mind you, I'm with 2 friends, and I'm like, can I have my phone back? And she's like, no, like, we'll talk about it when we get home, right? She's trying to keep her composure or whatever. So anyway, we get in a car, and I'm like, can I have my phone? She's like, no, you know, so we trying to keep it together in front of people or whatever. I was probably only 14 or 15. It was unfortunate because she ended up getting into like my iPod and my cell phone. And listen, when you're trying to find yourself at that time, you know, the chat rooms was big at that point in time. You know, you just trying to find yourself. You're talking to people in the chat rooms and things like that. So my mom had very explicit exposure to what it meant for me to be an LGBTQ person, unfortunately. And it really did like affect sort of how she saw the community. So it took us some years to heal from that. Like she was already like in the church and homophobic as it was. And so that didn't help. It was like, look, this is really obviously perversion, right? So earlier when we was talking about like molestation and things like that, she told me my whole life, like, why won't you tell me who did it? Like, just tell. I'm like, lady, that is not my baggage. Like, lady, like it's still not, that's not my story. You know what I'm saying? So it was a journey. It was a bit rocky, to be honest. And then I was sort of like alone in like Alabama. Like it was a bit awkward, but it has made me a very motivated person to find like independence and freedom in everywhere that I go. So I'm grateful for my journey overall. I don't know how much in detail y'all went earlier. I had got a call, so I hope that was appropriately shared. Yes.
Do I gotta do mine?
Yes.
Which one, child? That's the real question. Child, which one?
Because we can start with the mother and then hit
our story technically. Let me see. In my boy life, I think when I came out as bi first, and in my boy life, mine as well was messy. I was living in Delaware at the time. I was in middle school. I had decided to tell my cousin and like these 2 girlfriends of mine that were there, or one girlfriend of mine, and somehow or another, child, nobody to this day, nobody owns up to it. They still be blaming each other. Somehow or another, someone decides to call me on my phone and put me on speakerphone. Me not knowing, put me on speakerphone and ask me on the phone, like, hey, did you tell someone so that you were bi? And I'm like, yeah, I just told them. Okay. And then next thing you know, the call ends. Next thing I know, you know, my sister is outside. I have one of my little sisters is outside crying. And I'm sitting here trying to understand, like, what is she crying for? And and come to find out, I go up and it's a bunch of the niggas that were like around the area who were clowning her, saying, "Oh, your brother's this, your brother's a faggot." And so me, I have a very short fuse and short temper, and you know I worked really hard to control that over these years. But back then, it was not controlled, and so I was trying to square up with everybody. There was like 2 or 3 different niggas, and I was ready to fight, and they was doing some bitch shit like, don't touch me, don't do. It was some bitch ass shit, bro. And but ultimately that I got outed, and then I went ahead and like the next day went to tell my mom and dad, because I was like, I don't want them to tell them. I was like, I'd rather them hear it, you know, from me directly. And it was an experience. And then I guess trans, coming out as trans, it was weird because I did the opposite. I came out to my family first, and I was in Georgia, and when I came up here and I went to Howard, I got outed while I was at Howard on Vine when that was a thing, and then became a whole trending topic on Twitter. Like I became an entire hashtag and trended for a whole hot second. I was hashtag find the he bitch and became a whole thing, and they had outed me on campus at Howard, and then pretty much to the rest of the fucking world, because I hadn't like told everybody on campus who I was, where I came from, none of that, because ain't nobody know me. Yeah, so those are my 2.
I don't even want to repeat the word that I think I heard you say. Did you say what I think I heard you say?
Yeah, hashtag he bitch. Literally, yeah.
Now that is some inventively offensive-ish. I ain't even heard that one
Yep.
before.
You can still find it on Twitter. Yep.
The world we live in can be so cruel.
Going
Okay.
down.
Okay.
I think I heard that one before. Okay, so this thing is going up and down, up and down. Okay, so y'all put in hashtag Chapelle for this face mask and t-shirt. But I did want to ask you a while ago, Strawberry, but it's for all of you really. Being a member of the Black community in the LGBT community, how difficult has it been? And particularly Strawberry, the extra bonus. Do you think that it's easier or harder because you're on the light skin team?
So, interesting questions. So I've been told before that I didn't understand my privilege, and for a while I didn't. Back in the day, I didn't understand when people, because a lot of Black people used to say, not even just Black gay people, just Black people in general used to say that, because a lot of things that I used to do and say, they'd be like, if you were Black or darker, you wouldn't been able to get away with that, and I generally took a step back, and I've noticed a lot of stuff that I do and say, and some of the stuff that I do and say, I would honestly be extra on purpose just to see, if I would get, either spoken down to or addressed about it or whatever, or however, I would act about, or just get reprimanded for being or acting out as such. And it never happened. So I did come to find out that, I do have light skin privilege, especially as being a Black gay man. And luckily I've took that privilege to do whatever I needed to do for my LGBT and my Black community as a whole. Like, if there was ever like an issue that wasn't handled or wasn't handled the way it should have been handled, I definitely got involved full frontal. No, because if it was me, like, I always involved myself. However, whatever needed to be done, I just made the most of it, because and it's sad and irritating that it's actually, or that I was actually even looked at that way, that because I'm even light skinned, that you want me for this ad or this commercial, or because I'm so openly about me being positive, or me being gay, or just any version of who I am as an individual. It does irritate me, because I'm fair skinned, that I am used or utilized in a lot of different areas. But that's why I take that initiative to do what I need to do and say what I need to say and represent those that I need to represent in the way that they need to be represented.
Christian and Aurora as well. Also being a member of the Black community. How has it been?
Girl, why I gotta go first? I want to say Strawberry definitely does what he's saying. He's not exaggerating at all. Like, he throws everything that his spirit has to offer a situation. He will throw it with force. I won't say offer it up. I would say throw it at the situation until it goes. You know what I'm saying? For me, so the question is, like, how have you benefited from light skin privilege, or what was the question?
That light skin was extra for Strawberry.
Oh, okay.
For you and Aurora, although she already kind of mentioned it, but basically, how has it been for you all trying to fit in, or just be a part of, or just surviving in both the Black and the LGBT community?
Okay. So I would say I had the privilege to choose the Black LGBT community. Like, basically, I grew up really only under my parents. I grew up in a white neighborhood. After we left New Orleans, my mama, like, basically was escaping the problems of the city, right? Like a lot of people have done before. So when she left New Orleans, I was in a whole different environment where I just didn't really care about the people I was around. And so I had the privilege when I came to DC, and then there was so many Black and gay people, I got to just choose the intersection. So I feel like that explains a lot about my development. I got to just choose to be both, to be honest. Like I never really felt like I had to choose one or the other. Like I never connected like spiritually with white people who I was around. And I don't know, I just found Black gay people, Black trans people when I came to DC. I think DC has a lot of that to offer. So it's not very hard, to be honest. So I chose the intersection. Like that's my experience. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing is, as far as my family going back home, like I think because I became an adult in DC where it was so acceptable to be gay. When I went back to New Orleans, like I just had so much confidence that it was like nobody, they had no choice but to give it the program, because I'm like, I'm a bad bitch out of DC. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't play with me. Like, so and my family embraced me, even my male cousins, female cousins, aunties, like. But I really tried not to leave them a choice. I showed up accomplished and dressed like ready for the function and was helpful and was sweet to everybody. So I think that, yeah, period. Like I just tried to always give my best face, and I was loved by my family. I'm fortunate to say.
Yeah, it was rough. Because every time I try, so coming out to my family was never the issue. I as well, I was privileged and blessed enough to have a family that was, for the most part, those that mattered were like pretty supportive of my journey to where I've gotten to. But it was always harder to find that level of support outside of my family, with friends and in the rest of the world. I spent a lot of my time always trying to fit in somewhere, trying to find where I fit, because I never felt like I fitted in. So like in elementary school, I went to a predominantly white school. And I'm a Black kid, so clearly you see where the problem is there. Then we moved a lot. I went to a middle school, and that middle school was more Black. I was now the white nerdy Black. I was not really black enough. So then when I got to high school, I then became the cool gay guy. And it was just like, it was not, and it really wasn't cool for real. It was really just tolerating, because while I was flamboyant, because that was my moment of like, you gonna see me, because I was wearing bangles and shit. Girl, I was doing almost. But that was my moment of showing out and showing up. They didn't like the flamboyancy, but I wasn't the type of gay that was known around in Georgia at the time, of like trying to prey on niggas and like being real messy and trying to be catty, and like that wasn't my person. I wasn't my thing. So I didn't really have that follow me. But it didn't matter what spaces I would place myself in, I didn't fit. So in the Black gay spaces that I started to align myself in, I was too big. I wasn't small enough. I was too big, and I didn't fit the look of what gay men were supposed to look like. Fuck it. So then as I start to transition, I start to go through the same exact thing of like, okay, I learned who I am. I learned where I'm supposed to be and all that good stuff. Also, I was too feminine as a gay man as well. And then becoming a trans woman, it became a thing of like, oh, well, I'm not trans enough because I didn't experience certain things that the trans community is known for experiencing. So I didn't have to make the decision of engaging in sex work. I came from a supportive family household background. I went to school, and on top of that, I went to an HBCU. Like I have all of these quote unquote privileges on top of being light skinned and having pretty privilege, and then being considered passable. I have all of these privileges. So just because I'm trans, it really doesn't amount to all the trans folks that are going through all of these horrible things. So I wasn't supported or accepted, and I would get attacked for it or behind it or used against me in a conversation. to the point that like I spent like the last kind of like 2-3 years in isolation. Like I was isolating myself before 2020 hit. Like I left a particular job and I quit, and I start my isolation and really figuring out my person in the rest of the world and who I wanted to align myself with, and learning what it means to protect my peace started in 2019. And even then I still was getting picked at or poked at and talked about and being seen as less than, and the problematic one of the trans girls and things of that nature. Like I never could fit in. At Howard, I tried to be a part of a whole musical group collective that was like just a bunch of Black kids who did all types of instrument, beat making, singing, dancing, songwriting, marketing. Like everybody had a niche. And I was like, oh, my people, I love music. That's like my entire livelihood. I love music. Child, the moment I said I was trans and I like put it out there for folks to know, I was completely ostracized and X'd out. They stopped communicating with me. I was kicked out of group chats. I was no longer invited to certain gatherings and things. And this is while I was at Howard. And it's like, and it hurted me. And I got to a point where I was just, I'm tired of trying to be in spaces that I'm not welcomed and I'm only tolerated and I'm treated badly in. I only want to be in places that want me there genuinely, and that I want to genuinely be there, and leave it at that. So my journey, I don't, like I said, I don't deal with any community particular. I really just focus on the individual, and I let the individual show me who they are, and I choose whether I'm going to continue to deal with them or not from that point on.
Thank you all for your stories. There's so much I could talk to y'all about. There's a lot going on in the month of November. Let me get my little cheat calendar. So
part two.
Domestic Violence Month. It's Veterans Day this month.
Imagine our conversations with each other, y'all. It doesn't stop.
It's Adoption and Child Protection Month. So there's multiple opportunities for me to have Strawberry for sure back. World Freedom Day is this month. So there's a whole lot.
You know, World AIDS Day is December 1 also, just to keep that on the radar. That's December 1.
What is it?
December 1st, World AIDS Day.
Yeah, see? Yeah, y'all gotta come back.
Okay.
I'm go ahead and do this real quick because y'all still blessing me with y'all presence. And I don't want to keep y'all up.
Oh no, I gotta get ready to work. So I was like, 10 o'clock is it.
Here, it's not sharing. Okay.
So are you guys all in
Washington,
D.C.?
It said it's only 2 entries in here.
Okay. Because my son's in Washington, D.C., so.
Oh, okay.
Why is there only 2 entries?
I come and visit.
I need y'all to put hashtag Chapelle.
Oh, who didn't put hashtag Chapelle on there?
I can't win it.
I did.
I did too.
The thing says only 2 entries.
You did it on the YouTube channel or on this one?
It's all of it. It collects all of them.
I did mine on the YouTube channel.
I did on both.
You don't see them?
Hold on, let me. What is it sharing this? Hold on, y'all know I don't know what I be doing sometimes. Go ahead.
She be getting it together.
There, see, it say 2 entries.
Well, you must not have gotten everybody's in.
Well, just type it again.
So I'm gonna be honest, I can't log in. Like I'm in StreamYard. I'm not on YouTube or Facebook.
Right.
So click on that link.
Click on the link that's in the chat.
Okay.
Won't that make them leave the chat, or
it can? And you just have to refresh your.
Okay, I opened it. Oh, I see.
Y'all young people, y'all supposed to have more than one device.
I get it.
I know I do. I be on these Zoom calls and everything. I get it.
Okay, now it say 3.
Yeah, before.
It say 3.
Whose names do you see?
It don't show me the names. It just say 3.
I see 4. I see Mimi, Aurora, Dcox, and Chris.
I mean, I see it in the chat, but over here where it's pulling the names, it says only 3.
Mimi, Aurora, Dcox, and Chris.
I don't know, maybe
how about you refresh it?
I'm about to say refresh.
Oh yeah, let me try that. Stop acting like y'all know stuff.
We all in this together.
Yes. we trying to help you.
See, it went to 2.
Something wrong with your system.
Obviously, it's StreamYard. It ain't me.
Yep.
Hey, guess what? I got an look, it's including me. Ain't that something?
It's just including you, period.
Ain't that something?
It's
well,
just
guess
you.
What? Guess what? I got enough stuff for all of y'all. So
I want my t-shirt.
I got 2 masks. So 2 of y'all can get a mask and a shirt.
Just give me a mask.
And I got white masks only with this white water bottle. And then I got a DC Health water bottle. So y'all take y'all pick for what you want, and I will get it to you.
Okay.
Small, medium, and large is what I got. Yeah.
Can't have none of them because I don't fit none of those shirts.
I know. Daryl got the rest.
Same Mimi girl. We on the same page.
I don't know what he did with those.
Right. Why y'all discriminating against the big girls?
Guess what? Like I said, I had them all, but I decided to give them back to the what do you call the creator of
the original.
The creator, yeah, he got them. So you can get a white mask and a water bottle.
Okay.
Yes.
Whatever you send me, I'm good with. How about that?
So World want the mask and the water bottle, and okay, Strawberry want a medium shirt. Okay, you guys.
I'll take a small shirt.
Okay, thank you. Before y'all leave, any viewers who come to this later on, let them know how they can find you. Because it's no lie, Strawberry is everywhere. He is very active. I definitely want you to come back on your nerd stuff. Yes, y'all go ahead, drop y'all information, and I will also put it in the links on the YouTube.
Oh, true. Well, you can easily find me at Strawberry with 3 B's and the number 48 at Instagram. So once you find me on Instagram, it's connected to my Facebook.
And I dropped my IG in the chat. Chris Fields
_
I always say this because if people be thinking I'm sounding pretentious, Google me. It is Aurora Lloyd, and you will find everything. AURORALLOYD, because I don't feel like breaking down all the stuff. So I feel like, girl, just Google me. If you want the music, you'll find it. If you want to see pics, you'll find it.
Must be nice.
Let me tell you. I mean, look, if you Google Strawberry from DC, you find me too. So like, if you literally Google Derrick Strawberry Cox, everything comes up. All the interviews, the magazines and stuff I've been in, like, it's there.
My lovelies, I'm holding my bladder. I'm gonna have to hop off, but it has been a wonderful conversation. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself.
It was such a pleasure.
Thank
you.
Yes, I don't see Christian stuff in here.
Well, I'll make sure you get it.
Yes, sir.
It is 10 o'clock, and I gotta get ready for work.
Nice.
Yes. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Thank you again for coming.
There's gonna be a part 2. Don't worry, we're gonna call y'all.
Okay.
All right, and my outro.
I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I would like to thank my guests for joining me, or simply thank you for watching the pre-recorded episode. No matter what your birth order is, how you self-identify, and whether you like pancakes or waffles. If this is the first time you're hearing it today, I want you to know that you are loved. You were put here for a purpose that only you can fulfill. Until next time, take care of yourself. Be sure that you like and share the videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notifications bell. This is RealRam out.